Let me ask you something. What if everything you've ever been taught about setting goals is, well, wrong? What if focusing on that big goal, to get fit, earn more, learn a new skill, is the very reason you keep failing? Today, we are going to break down a huge shift in thinking that separates the people who dream from the people who actually do. It's the difference between just staring at a destination on a map and actually building the unstoppable machine that's going to get you there. All right, to really get this, let's start with a story you definitely know. Picture this. It's 2008. A billionaire genius finds himself badly wounded, held captive in some remote cave. His captors want him to build a weapon, so he agrees, but he ends up building something very, very different. And this just perfectly illustrates the whole idea. Tony Stark didn't just wish his way out of that cave, right? He didn't rely on some burst of motivation or willpower. No, he engineered a system, that incredible suit, that made his escape pretty much inevitable. He built the vehicle, and that vehicle carried him straight to freedom. This right here is the fundamental shift we're talking about. Goal-focused thinking, that's all about the finish line, that one single moment of success. But system-focused thinking, that's about building a process that just automatically moves you forward, day after day. See, goals are great for setting a direction, but it's the systems that actually deliver the progress. And you know what? This isn't some new age productivity hack. This is literally the blueprint for all of humanity's greatest achievements. The Wright brothers didn't just hope they could fly, they spent years meticulously building a system of wings and engines. Zuckerberg didn't just want to connect a few friends, he built a system we now know as an algorithm. This idea is everywhere, and yet it's the one thing we almost never apply to our own life. So that's the big question, isn't it? If systems are so incredibly powerful, why do we always just go back to wishing and trying to force it with willpower? Well, it turns out it's not actually your fault. Your brain has a couple of, let's call them design flaws, that make traditional goal setting almost destined to fail right from the very start. And here's the proof, plain and simple. A huge study out of Sweden found that more than 3/4 of people ditch their New Year's resolutions almost immediately. I mean, that initial burst of excitement just vanishes, and we're right back where we started. So let's look at the first reason why this happens, deep inside our own heads. They call it the hype drop. Okay, so when you start something new, like a workout plan, your brain gives you this nice little reward, a hit of dopamine, that feel-good chemical. But after you do the same thing for 2 days, your brain's like, okay, I've seen this before, and it releases less of it. The action is the same, but the chemical reward gets smaller. And what was once exciting now just feels like a chore. And poof, your motivation is gone. And then there's the second error, which some people call sonic happiness. Your brain, at its core, is wired for instant gratification. A slice of pizza gives you a happiness hit right now. Going to the gym, that gives you real results in like 3 months. Our ancient survival brain will almost always pick the quick, easy pleasure over the delayed, long-lasting one. These two errors, they create the perfect storm for failure. So how on earth do we fight back against our own brain chemistry? Well, the solution starts not with what you do, but with who you decide to be. So let's dive into the first step of building a system that actually works, and it's all about creating a brand new foundation for yourself. James Clear wrote in his book Atomic Habits, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Just look at the huge difference on this slide. The person on the left who's trying, they're still holding on to their old identity. But the person on the right, they've already become the future version of themselves. Now their actions just have to line up with who they already are. So here's the key takeaway. Stop focusing on the outcome you want and start focusing on the identity you want to have. Don't say, I want to write a book. Say, I am a writer. All of a sudden, the goal isn't to hit some far-off target. It's just to act like the person you now are. It makes everything feel so much more authentic and natural, not like something you're forcing yourself to do. Okay, so once you've figured out who you want to become, the next step is to turn that fuzzy wish into a concrete, actionable blueprint. Because a good system, well, it needs an instruction manual. A wish is just a feeling, right? I want to get fit is a wish. But a structure, like what you see here, that's an execution map. It tells you exactly what success looks like, when it needs to happen by, and this is the most important part, the specific repeatable actions that are going to get you there. This is how you build the actual engine for your system. And now for the final and most practical step, actually assembling the machine. A really powerful system, one that runs almost on autopilot, is built on 4 key pillars that all work together to make your progress pretty much automatic. Pillar number 1 is all about creating triggers. Don't just vaguely say, oh, I'll meditate more. You have to decide when and where. The best way to do this is to attach a new habit to an old one you already do. So when I finish my morning coffee, I will meditate for 5 minutes. You're using a routine that's already there to launch the new one. It almost completely removes the need for willpower. Pillar 2 is, honestly, it might be the most important one. We fail so often because we make the first step way too big. So you have to minimize the action. Make it so small it's almost silly. Your goal isn't to run a marathon tomorrow, it's just to put on your running shoes. Your goal isn't to write a chapter, it's to write 1 sentence. The hardest part is always just getting started. And this simple trick gets you over that hurdle and builds some serious momentum. Now, remember that sonic happiness problem with our brains? Well, this pillar is the direct counterattack. Since the real reward of your system is way off in the future, you have to create a tiny, artificial, instant reward. When you finish your 5 push-ups, grab a marker and put a big X on a calendar. That simple little act gives your brain a tiny hit of dopamine, telling it, hey, that was good, let's do that again tomorrow. And finally, pillar 4, the safety net. Because let's be real, no system is perfect. You're going to have bad days, you're going to miss a workout. The key isn't perfection, it's about being resilient. You need a plan for when things go wrong. And the rule is so simple, never miss twice. If you miss Monday's workout, you do whatever it takes to get Tuesday's done. 1 missed day is an accident. 2 missed days is the start of a brand new, unwanted habit. So, at the end of the day, the choice is yours. You can keep relying on temporary motivation and that willpower that always runs out, chasing a goal that seems to be just over the horizon, or you can become the architect of your own success. You can be like Tony Stark in that cave and build an unstoppable system, a machine of habits that makes your progress and your final achievement simply inevitable.